There is a distinction, or I like to make a distinction between founders and CEOs. Now, some founders can move into kind of ultimately the CEO role. In other words, initially a founder is a CEO. They're the captain of the ship.
That's right.
But as the organization grows, the skills and competencies that, and I'm sure you see this, Lee, but the skills and competencies that are needed are different. Some of them are overlapping and some of them are different. And so what you'll find is that, so I want to break that out first. When folks are making that transition, that's the first issue. Well, first of all, do they want to do it? Because a lot of founders love the ride, as a CEO once said to me. They love building, which is a very different mode than running. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
And so that's the first thing, is actually, do they want to make the transition? And then the second thing is, oftentimes there is, and we can move into this in just a bit, but a founder is used to kind of not only being the captain of the ship, but overseeing everything, and oftentimes having a finger in every pie, so to speak. And that fundamentally has to shift, frankly, whether they're a startup founder, an entrepreneurial founder, or an executive inside a Fortune 500 organization. When people level up, when leaders level up, and the playing field fundamentally changes, so the visibility gets greater, the spotlight is brighter and hotter, and the responsibility is greater, because as an organization grows, more people are depending on that particular executive. That's what I mean by the playing field shifting. And they simply, this is, what I've observed over and over and over again, have to make the transition from kind of having a finger in every pie to having a finger on the pulse of the pies.
Yeah.
If pies have pulses.
They do.
I'm mixing my metaphors here.
They have vibes, for real.
Right. But having a finger on the pulse and having a team that is, and what I call goes beyond high performance to a self-correcting team. And I'm happy to talk to you about that. But that's essentially a team that can, for all intents and purposes, function pretty darn well without you. And I can talk to
almost like a mini CEO of a department or of a domain.
As a unit, right? So they're able to pivot, there are kind of three things. They're able to pivot quickly, they're able to take in information and make decisions, but they're also able, a self-correcting team is consistently able to go to their superior, whether that's the CEO or a senior executive leader, let's say, division president, and say, we're in over our head. We need your guidance. So they're actually able to discern that as well. They're also incredibly highly accountable, because that's the other piece, is that as an organization grows, whether it's a CEO or a senior executive, what can happen is, so they need to kind of let go a bit, which is very difficult. When people say just delegate, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and I actually developed a process for it, but because it's very difficult, they have to let go a little bit, but they have to trust that things will be executed in a timely and efficient manner. Yes. And that requires a kind of a bidirectional trust between team and an executive leader.